All right guys, behind me we got the new 22.5 Lonestar Max cab. So we're going to go over some of the things that I've added to this vehicle and some of the differences. Now remember, if you have a Lonestar, an XMR, or a Limited, you have a 65-inch unit. So if it's 65-inch wide, then it takes less to clear the tires. So if you have an XT, you're going to need more lift to clear 35s. So if that kind of answers your questions on that. Without further ado, let's get into what all's done to this unit. So first thing you'll notice here is this is the XMR mount, pull mount that comes on the XMRs. I powder coated that, and then I also ordered the XMR plate and the synthetic rope. Now this unit's going to come with this winch mounted down here, and it's going to come with a wire rope instead of a synthetic rope. So you can order that plate, the synthetic rope, and this roller fair lead from Canam. What you're looking at is 35, I think they're 35 by 9.5 by 20 Boggers with the fuel reaction wheels. You know, I have 0 rub with the S3 springs and the Super ATV forward arms. Now with the Super ATV forward arms, you can see that you can keep your factory, what do you call it? Your factory bars if you want to. You can remove those if you want more articulation. But with the cab and it being heavier on the top, I really like to have my sway bars on there. So anyway, it does clear with 0 rub. And then if you notice here, these are the XMR stock fender flares. Those have been added. I've had lots of questions on these mirrors. These are the new Canam mirrors. And if you look here, I have the Beamtech LED lights. I pulled the halogens out. The halos here, Corbin Customs is where I ordered my switch. And if I'll show you right here, I hardwired this to power all the time. So you can actually turn the halos on and leave your halos on if you want to. I'm going to add the Corbin Customs turn signals. The only thing I haven't added. I also added the Corbin Customs horn. If you look, it mounts right up here. It's pretty plug and play, guys. You run that around the side, it goes into the cab. It comes with the switch on this side. You pop it in, you tie it into the accessory wires, which are right behind this dash. You pop it out. Anyway, the key's got to be on for that. See, that works. Nice lighted Canam switch. We'll keep walking around the outside before we get into the inside. That is a rough country bar on top. Another thing that I like about it is the Black Series. It has 2 options. You have an LED strip that runs across it that you can light, which is really nice. And I put the switch right here up top. I put a 2 position. You go to the top, and then you light the bar up fully. On the tint, you're looking at 35% tint on the front, and guys, I wouldn't go much darker than that if you're going to ride at night. I was kind of surprised with the 35%. Now of course you turn the LED light on, you can see plenty good. So you know, if you've got good lights, you're fine, but you're also going to blind people. I did 5% on all the rest, the side windows and the back. These are the 5150 whips with the Tusk mounts. These mounts are really nice because if you need a couple degrees to turn it, it's got a lot of different offsets in there to get those whips straight. So that's a nice feature. I'll show you the switch for those. So you can see right here on my lighted whip switch, which I have powered all the time also. And then a Bluetooth app controls them. The 5150 whips do all kinds of different patterns, which is nice. The Camlocker box, these are a little bit higher price point, but I really like the Camlocker box because you can lock your stuff in it. Now what I did is I used the compression fittings on the bed. Let me get the key so we can unlock it. So one of the things you'll notice about this box is it's very good quality. You can order it with or without the rail on top. And if you look inside, it comes carpeted and ready to go, which is really nice. And then in here you can see I've got my profab windshield cover. That's amazing when you're hauling it. You don't have to worry about putting a hole in your windshield. And if you look right here, you can see I used one of those compression fittings and just a stainless nut to clamp it down so it's not coming out, not going anywhere. It's got one of those on each side, but also makes it easy to remove if you need to do that. Coming around the back side, these are stock arms. If you look under here, I don't have much toe in. I may put the S3 upper so that I can get that little bit out. It's not a lot, it tilts a little bit. But if anything, like I said, the S3 uppers is probably what I'll put the adjustables and leave the factory lowers. And then it's just got the S3 springs on the rear. Now, if you order them for limited, XMR or Lonestar, these S3 springs will come with this, which keeps it level in the back. The back lifts a little bit more with these. Spacers. And of course you can see I have the Corbin Customs. This is the LED license plate light that lights up plate. What's really nice is if you come up here, it comes with the pigtail you can order from them that just ties into the license to the tail light up here, and you just run that down there. This is the Rough Country bumper. I had it rhino lined, and then it does have the backup lights also. Really nice for being able to see at night. And then if you notice here on the back side too, I did 1.5 inch spacers. You could do 2 inch and it'd probably be true straight from the front to the back. 1.5 inch still has a little bit of inset. It's not much, but I like the 1.5 inch look. Works good for me, and it doesn't get it out too far outside those fender flares to get it really dirty. So that's really about it on the outside. That Rough Country light does come with, you can order these brackets from Rough Country and they come with crush nuts. So it's really easy to install. Just got to drill 2 holes. And then one of the first things I did was ran a fuse power, a number 8, from the battery around up the side pillar to the top, because everything in the top is switched. And so if you want accessories to run full time, you know, like your radio roof, you've got to do that. So let's move into the cab. We'll talk about some of the things we've got done in here. One of the things I noticed in the beginning was whenever I first shut my doors on this, is I had big gaps in the doors. Straight from Canam, the hinges were set really loosely, so I loosened these up, moved them in a little bit. It tightened everything up. I've got nice door seals now with my light coming in and out of them. Did that all the way around on the front and the back. Overall, you can see it's pretty much stock in here. I do have the Ram wireless quick mount. This is really nice. You can actually, let me grab my phone. And it's a key on because I just ran it to the USB port under there. It's really easy. Stick it in there, plug it in. And there was already one hole drilled in that column. So basically you just pull it up, put it in there, and with the key on, it'll start charging your phone, and it holds it really nicely. So it's a nice bracket. I ordered the triangle mount. As you can see right there, just drilled the bottom hole. That's the top hole I used if you want to look on that side. So like I said, basically I ran the hot wire up here, and so you can see my keys off and my JL top is on, which is really nice. I can leave the radio on, start it, stop it, and I don't have to worry about it cutting off or any of that. You just have to remember to turn this off when you leave. The other thing that I noticed on the JL top, and this is just, these 4 speakers up here are really loud. There's a 280x4 amp, which is right here bolted. That amplifier runs these 4 speakers. It sounds really good up front. The one thing I will say is there's 2 speakers in the back from stock. Now you can see I've added speakers, but these 2 back here are the stock ones. Now you're barely going to get any sound out of those back speakers because JL just hooked those up to the deck power. So with the radio turned all the way up, what's that, 25 watts? I mean, you could barely hear the speakers back there. So you weren't getting a lot of sound in the back seat, which some may be okay with that. For me, that didn't work. So I kept the 280x4, which is still powering my 4 front speakers. And then I had a local dealer here in Victoria, Hypro Audio, come out, and they drilled these 2 out, added 2 more of these, which is really nice. We tied all the RGBs in. And I'll take you to the back seat and show you back there. So we've got these 4 now, and they're not running on the deck power. So if you look, I've got a wire running down the back wall back there. What we did is right here we have the JL Audio 500 by 4. So this amplifier is powering those 4 speakers now. You really, if I ever wanted to do wake speakers or anything, I could actually move these 4 onto one of the channels here and then have another port to do wake tower speakers or something on the outside if that's what you want to do. But it's a nice place to mount these. If you look, you just cut this out. They mount really nice right here. Plus having the battery right down there is really nice. The only thing you got to run from the front is RCAs and a remote. Pretty easy access. And then on the bottom, if you look, I've got the Area 51 ported box. Comes with these nice brackets. Straight across here, you can see I used the Rockford M2 because they designed this box for the Rockford M2, and it sounds amazing. And the RGB that the Rockford M2 has is also tied in with my top, so it's nice to have that on a matching deal. We'll go around, I'll show you the sub amp on the other side. So behind this side you have the same amp. It's just a JL 500 by 1, and that's running just a subwoofer on this side. So significant improvement in sound. You know, the JL top is a decent top. It sounds really good. You know, but if you're wanting that top that's going to really jam, you're probably going to have to do some adders to it. Same thing here. Tighten these door hinges up. Got this tightened up a little bit. Okay, going back on the inside, if you look here, the other adder is the Canam digital mirror. I'll put the key in real quick to show you all that. So when your ignition's on, I put my camera up on the top in the center. Didn't really want it down at the license plate, so it mounts really well right there, and they ran that wire along the driver's side. There's a small piece of channel in the JL top already, and they just ran it around the front, put it in this valance up here, and then tied it in. And this actually bolts where your factory mirror bolts, so not a bad install on that. One of the other things you'll see that I've installed is the DSS keys. You can have these programmed. And so basically, if you don't have the DSS module, which that's this right here, plugged in, it's kind of like the jet ski modules. They're shipped in frequency or whatever. The unit's not going to start. It's going to tell you check key. So as soon as you put that on right there, you turn the key on, it tells you have the normal key installed. Now there's 2 other keys that are programmed. I think one's regulated at 40 miles an hour and one's regulated at 20 miles an hour. There's some programmable features that you can add to those keys. That, I mean, this setup's like $200. You're gonna have to pay the dealer probably an hour to program it and put it in. It's worth the money if you don't want anybody to steal your unit. So these 3 switches here are all time power, because I wanted the whip to work, I wanted the backup lights to work, and I wanted my halos to work. If I want to leave those on. Everything else is tied into accessory power. The other thing that I have is the pedal commander. Now, I did the EPI mutter clutch, and the EPI mutter clutch made a huge difference as far as when it takes off. It really makes 35s feel like the unit was stock. The only thing I did notice is, you know, it has that program delay in it from the factory, and so when you put 35s on it, that program delay is even worse. Like, you just feel like you push the pedal, you're at a quarter throttle before this thing takes off, and it feels like it hesitates. When you put the pedal commander on, it's instant. It's almost better than stock. As soon as I touch that pedal, it's moving. You know, and if I'm backing out of the garage and I'm in reverse and I touch that pedal a little too hard, it will spin the tires. So it's very adjustable. It's Bluetooth, and I mounted it here. You don't really have to mount it to see it because you can control it with your phone. But it makes a huge difference on the pickup. Those 2 things, the EPI clutch and that, big plus for 35s. If you're going to go that route, I definitely recommend it. But overall, you know, besides tightening the hinges up on the doors, closing some of the gaps up, the one issue I did have with mine is there's 2 vents that come to the AC unit, and those 2 vents are 2-piece, and from the factory it was split open, and so there was a lot of air blowing out behind the unit, and I just wasn't getting the AC that I thought it should have. So I reached up under there and I felt it. All I had to do was clip that vent back and put it. So if you feel a lot of air coming around the brake pedal or around that back side, you may have the vents may not have pushed up on that unit very well. There's 3 bolts on it. Slides back about 1 inch. You can feel back there and just push it back. It's very simple to fix that. So one of the other recommendations that I'm gonna patch into this video, sorry I forgot about it, is if you look, I use just that Amazon Noico. You can see there's thermal mat behind that. And I put that thermal matting behind that wall, and then I put the sound deadening. I actually attached the sound deadening material to the back of that felt, and it's amazing how much quieter it is in here and how much heat you're not getting from the engine. So definitely recommend, if you've got time, you might want to do that. Made a big upgrade in the cab, so it's a lot quieter. I barely hear the engine even running. So anyway, just kind of wanted to go over the full build. If you've got any questions, you're welcome to post them below. I'll try to get them answered. Absolutely love the unit. Canam's done a really good job. They knocked it out of the park with this Lonestar Max. And if you liked the video, please hit that like. Please hit that subscribe down in that bottom corner. And we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks.